Hey, how's it going? Um, Overall, this doesn't look bad. I like how you kind of get all the pieces together. Um, Couple things. Um, First off, obviously you still have roto issues. Looks like your keys look working pretty well. Um, the uh, I'm not seeing much in the way of flicker up there on the leaves. That's usually the biggest thing I see is as this stuff plays through. We get a lot of noise and things like that. It may be a little bit on the crisp side. You could probably toss a really subtle edge blur, like really subtle, to kind of smooth that out because it's super crisp, so that you can see the jags and the edges and stuff. You can see all the little aliasing and things like that. So a little bit of an edge blur. You got a little bit of this like where you're losing some, which is going to happen, especially if it's crossing areas. It gets a little rough for it to figure out. But for the most part, that's looking really good. You're having issues with rotos, like weird rotos. Like right now, there's this huge hole right here. So there's a roto shape doing something funky right here because it moves around. It looks like it's part of a key of some kind. So when you have situations like that, you just do like you'll have to hand roto that back in. So you have to patch where necessary. So you have a lot of stuff bouncing around in there. I thought it was and actually it does look like a roto shave right along here. So you do have a few issues going on there. Um, this might have gotten a little thinned out. Um, it seems like it should be a little thicker than that, but no, it is. Yeah, you got holes in here. I can see where I think there's supposed to be branches, but they got keyed out somehow. So that's something where you roto this out and like do it separately, and try and get that to kind of work. Um, and I knew whenever I approved this project, this was going to be an issue. This type of stuff. This stuff takes a long time. It's a lot of hand roto, a lot of like manual labor to get that to work. Um, the guy's not looking too bad. There is obviously the mirror's gone, and all of a sudden the mirror comes back. So there's a roto shape there. Um, there's also a jump in your track on the mountain back there, which that's a whole nother issue. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there's something wrong on frame one, so I'm not sure what happened here. You can see it over here as well. When I jump back and forth, there's this weird pop going on. So that's in the track itself. After that, it seems to be for the most part okay. There's a little jitter. You can see the mountain kind of bouncing up and down a little bit as it plays, so it's not really smooth. Um, and again, your roto shapes along here are really dragging out. So the biggest issue, the single biggest issue you got right now is just the mats, and mats are so important for compositing. You have to get those right. Um, I know it's your first month doing it on your own, so I'll be a little lenient on my grading, probably maybe too lenient, but uh, at least now you understand. So this is your free pass for the most part this month, and I would recommend. I like this shot. I would like you for you to go back and kind of clean up and fix it. But mats are probably the big thing. The other things that are relatively easy to fix. Oh, you have the same issue here. You got some weird like matting issues right here. Um, it looks like you've got holes in the mat. I'd like to see the alphas on these just to kind of see what they look like. But you probably see where the branches are being keyed out, and so the branches aren't staying and things like that. Um, so two things real quick. One is the mountain doesn't work, and the reason why it doesn't work is because of lighting. Used an image of a mountain. However, in your plate, your light is on the left, so the shadows are all being cast off to the right. However, the mountain you used has the shadows being cast to the left, so it's like we have two suns, and the sun is only affecting this one. Um, you also have the issue of it's too bright, so your balance is off, so you need to do the white balance and things like that. You need to get the haze in there. There should be at least a little bit. You can see it here. There's a slight blue tint of just environment haze, like right in this area. Um, and so you kind of need that over here as well, just the slight blue tint. But the problem is you get this bright sun shining in from the right. Um, Also, your black and white points. If I were to let's say if I crack Nuke here and I go grab your video and drag and drop it into Nuke real quick. Oop, missed. Gotta wait for it. Let me pop back up. There we go. I'll drop it. All right. So if I go in and look at this and go out to the frame where we have that. So if I go in here and do this, there we go. So if I look at this and I gamma slant it, so if I take my gamma and gamma down, you can see how your mountain you added is brighter than everything else. All right, you got this weird blue thing over here. I think that's well, that's your sky. So yeah, obviously the sky needs to be bright. But your mountain is like super, super bright. And if I go the other way, if I go this direction, you can see the darks are super dark. So that's a situation, and I can't really do it right now. I think I did this before. I do it so many times. I should probably make a little quick video on it. But if your mountain's too bright, oops, didn't mean to do that. What you want to do is you go down to where, right where like your bright areas of things that have sun on them. So you have this basically the desert floor here that's getting hit. It's about the same color rock. Bring it down to where the desert floor starts to disappear. All right, so obviously this is way too bright. So you drop a grade node in and you adjust your black point. So you take the black point down. And what that will do is, I'm sorry, white point. You take your white point up, and that lowers your white point. Now you would do this on your individual object. Right now I'm doing it to the whole plate, so everything's going to change. But at least you'll get the idea. So you take the white point and move it up, and until it reaches a point where it just starts to disappear. So it would be like in this area, like right here. All right. Now I've done the whole plate, so now everything got darker. So whenever I reset back, you'll notice that it's still bright because I darkened the whole plate. But you want to balance that with this. And then the same thing would go with the black point. If I bring this up, I have those dark areas right here, but nothing else is that dark anywhere in this plate. And so what you would do is you drop the black point down, and that lifts and gets rid of those dark areas in the plate. And then when I gamma back to normal, you get something that's starting to kind of merge together. But my issue is I have it all on this mountain. Now I can go in real quick just so you can see the difference. And I can do a very fast roto here. I'll just do a quick, just drop a roto in. Oh, hang on. I didn't set my project. So let me get this set right. This is 1080, I believe. All right, so now I'll drop my roto in, and I'll just make a real quick roto around this guy. This is really dirty. I just want to isolate the mountain here. And the guy up and over, and bang, done. All right, and so now if I look at my roto, alpha, there's my roto. So I'm going to use this to mask off where this grade occurs. So I can drop it in here. So now it's got a roto shape around it, obviously. But now you can kind of see how the dark areas here, and let me clear all this out. See how the dark areas here now match. And if I turn off the grade, you can see the difference in that. And this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to match these bright areas to the bright areas everywhere else. And I probably should have been shooting for more of this, so I could go back and gamma slam down again. Let me turn this back on. Look back on. I can gamma slam down, and I went a little too far, so because I was doing the whole plate, I had a hard time seeing where I was trying to get to. So that was the light point, so I can bring this back to the point where now the mountain is just starting to show up along with this right here. And vice versa, I go the opposite way, gamma slam up. And now I can tell I've gone a little too far, so I can bring this back. And I get these dark areas. Let me just go all the way up. I get these dark areas matching these dark areas. And so now whenever I go back to normal, I get something that's starting to blend a little better. All right, so that's what you're trying to do. And that's part of compositing, is color balancing, color matching, things like that. Last thing that you have an issue with, and I've mentioned this, I distinctly remember mentioning this before, I'm almost positive, is your background. Your background never moves. It's completely static. So this background needs to be on some kind of a 3D card because you have a tracked camera that's moving, and you have these objects in here that are moving. And it may be why I think this is bouncing, is because the drone is moving. This camera that you're looking through is physically moving around. So it's going up in the air, it's going down. However, the background isn't moving. The background is completely static. So the background needs to move with the motion of the camera. The camera's like looking and things like that. It's moving around, but your background never does. That's why everything kind of looks like it's jittery. So see this weird motion that's happening back here? That's your drone camera moving. See how that's moving up and down and all that? That's not a RotoShape problem. That is your drone camera actually moving around. The background needs to move the same. So what you do is you just you have your track, find one of those trackers that's way off in the distance, and just put a card at that distance or farther from the camera, and then that will allow the 3D camera to move, and then the background will move appropriately. Your background card needs to be bigger than the motion of the camera so that you don't get black bars popping through. So that will be scaled up a little bit right towards the back. All right. So that's the kind of stuff that I'd like to see you fix later. When you get to Portfolio 7, you have the opportunity to come back and tweak old comps. I'd recommend like working on this all the time. Like when you're in your off time, when you're in between classes, just in between the months, just kind of go back and work on this a little bit. Find a different image for a mountain, so make sure you get an image that has the mountain from the left side. Or, you can go in and construct your own for multiple photographs, create a new matte painting of a mountain back here. Just make sure the lighting matches your foreground plate. Lights on the left, going this direction. All right? Cool. Thanks.